What's going on, folks? Welcome to another episode 70 of The Retro Gamers. Larry here.
And Anthony, present.
What's up?
I'm still here. I'm still alive.
Good, yes. Oh, out in LA.
My God. It's crazy over here. Not only is it, 80-degree weather in December, but it is super dry, super windy, and I feel like every day there's a brand new fire to talk about.
Honestly, it's getting nuts over there, man. I mean, just nuts. Everything's okay by you? Like, are you in the path or something, or?
No, I'm safe.
Okay, good.
I am safe. However, they are. Let's see. If I'm going in directions, they are north of me, northeast of me, west of me, and let's see, south, but far south. Because there's one that started up in San Diego County.
Oh, okay.
Yesterday. I think in total there are I want to say 6.
Good gosh.
Happening. And it's crazy. The closest one to me was the Skirball fire. That was the one that was right on the 405, and I had posted a video online on what it looked like.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that one. That would have been, that fire was going right on the freeway where I usually drive to work.
Oof.
Which is insane. Thankfully, I did not have to go to Santa Monica that day.
Good.
Which was good. But it's absolutely crazy here. Special shout out to all the firefighters that are just working endlessly and tirelessly to get these things under control. I mean, Bel Air was on fire.
Really?
It's just, yes, Bel Air. That was the fire by the 405. It was Bel Air that was burning up. Yes, I believe. I know. Maybe he's back in Philly by now.
West Philadelphia. He's better off in LA on fire.
Exactly. But yeah, so just huge fires going on, really scary. The one out in Ventura County, I think that I heard today, is up to 132,000 acres.
Wow.
Which is absolutely insane. I believe that would be the equivalent of, let's see, it was at 60. It's like 20 Manhattans on fire.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Because Manhattan, yeah.
Yeah,
It's just insane. So there's a lot of scary stuff going on here. I am very grateful to be safe. Hoping everybody else is out there and being safe. But yeah, and it's hopefully after this weekend things will start to die down in terms of the winds, so that they can get these things under control.
Do you see any of those helicopters flying by? The ones with the water buckets and stuff?
Oh yeah, no, I've seen them. I saw a couple of them do their drops.
Oh wow.
On Tuesday when I went to go play hockey Tuesday night, and I got to the rink, it was basically snowing ash up there.
Oh my gosh.
And then if I looked into the distance on my ride home, and I could see the fires right there on the hills.
And then not only that, you also had an earthquake, so that just adds to the fun.
Yes, had an earthquake I did not feel.
Well, it was like a 3.3. That's nothing to you guys.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, I can jump up and down and cause that. So, earthquake, did not feel that. I think we're too distracted with fires right now.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. Well, definitely be safe, everyone out there in California. Be safe, and so we'll continue on here. We'll represent you with video gaming and try and put a little levity in all this to try and distract you just for a little while. Not
don't we always?
Yeah, we try. So
that we do.
And not only that, but I do want to mention this real quick. We're also rapidly approaching 1,000 likes and followers on the Facebook page, facebook.com/RetroGamersPodcast.
Yeah, we've been growing really, really quickly, and I'd like to take full credit for it.
You know what? I'm going to give you full credit for it, definitely.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think our live streaming is actually starting to bear fruit between the two of us, and then Josh and Brandon from over at Victims and Villains, that have been doing we've been doing those weeklies, and then we've been doing some random streaming, and I think that's just been really beneficial, and we're very grateful for people who are liking us and following us and watching our feeds and all that stuff. And I'm more grateful that they watch mine than yours.
No, well, if proof is in the pudding from a couple days ago from when we're recording now, yeah, that's true. I had a bump in the road with my live stream.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you have any idea what went wrong? And you know what the funny thing is? It's like, I would have expected it to be a very big bump in the road if you played something god awful like a Virtual Boy game or something. But I think.
That's one. I think, you're allowed one more this week.
What's up, Charlie? Hashtag Baby Sucks.
Yeah, he's paying attention.
Yeah, he's paying attention. I didn't get one in last week, and I didn't realize it, so shame on me. But you played a fairly popular game that everybody knows and loves, Super Mario Brothers 2. So I would have expected you to get a good number of views on that guy.
It is what it is. It was a Thursday night. It's not. Yes, it's a great game. It's a game that, in December, what we're doing is for like those official live streams with us, Victims and Villains, and the PS Midnight Cast, we're playing games like our favorite game we ever got for Christmas, and Super Mario Brothers 2. I remember, and I think we're going to talk about it because we're going to do a crossover episode very soon with Victims and Villains. Mm-hmm. I think we're going to talk about that, the games we got for Christmas, so be on the lookout for that. So I figured just timing, people were probably busy, and I was playing a game that a lot of people play online, like you, and you tend to play, which is good, a bit more obscure games, which is fantastic.
Oh, I like to be a little more random about it because
agreed.
I know everybody plays the Marios and the Zeldas and all that stuff, and don't get me wrong, I love Mario, I love the Marios and Zeldas. I was like, but I'd rather spend time playing games that most people don't normally play, because to me it's more interesting for me because I'm also playing games that maybe I've never played before or rarely played.
Yep.
And it's also games that people don't normally watch.
Yes, and that's good. And I mean, the pitfall I fell into was because of our theme this month, it was just going to lead me to Super Mario Brothers 2 anyway, which is fine. I'm not worried about that. And then what I did was I thought to try and mix it up. Also, I was playing terribly. Apparently, it's been a very long time since I played Super Mario Brothers 2. What I did was I mixed it up, and I have this very obscure game for the Super Nintendo. It's a Christmas game called Days Before Christmas or Days of Christmas. I forgot the exact title of it. So I figured pop that in. It's Christmas time just to change it up a little bit. And you can find the stream is still up. It's there at the Facebook page. But yeah, you know what? I'm just chalking it up to a rough thing. I'm not deterred. I'm not upset or anything. It happens.
No, we'll soldier on.
Absolutely.
We always do. Especially since I'm up soon.
Yeah, no, and I'm sure you're gonna knock it out of the park. Some other.
I'm sure I will.
So it is what it is, but it wasn't too much of a problem.
And since you were playing terribly at it, maybe I'll share this little tidbit with you. But while you were playing terribly at Super Mario Brothers 2, I was playing quite awesomely in another game. In fact, I completed one today.
Really? All right.
Yes. So,
and you just recently you were talking about how you were having trouble completing games lately.
Yeah. Well, I've been struggling quite a bit. I've been having trouble completing games that I used to complete easily before.
Gotcha.
Which I find strange because it's like my memory when I play those games are pretty good because usually games I beat multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
But lately I've been having trouble beating old games or retro games that I used to play. But now I can add a new game into my catalog of games I've completed, and it would be Super Mario Odyssey.
Oh wow, a new one! And did you?
That's a new one.
When you say complete, you beat Bowser?
Yeah, I beat Bowser.
Good.
I completed Storm.
Awesome.
Yeah, I do not have all the power moons because 999 power moons is absolutely ludicrous.
Oh, so
that's
tough.
going to take. I know it's going to take forever. What? How many are you at now?
It's been a while since I played. 280. 275.
Okay.
Between 275 and 280.
Yeah, I'm not too far behind you. I think I'm somewhere around 250 or 260.
Oh, okay.
So, but now, but I also noticed, like, in the beginning when I first started playing, like, the earlier levels, I was still trying to get a hang of it, so I wasn't really finding that many. And then as I was going along, I was purposely looking for them.
Gotcha.
So I was gathering more on later levels. So now when I go back, I'm just gonna like start powering through, because I don't know what happens when you get 9.99.
Oh, neither do I. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, and I haven't looked it up, but I want it to be a surprise, so I'm gonna try my best to do it. But at the same time, Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild just dropped their other DLC adventure, and I need to download that and play it, because that's like. But the minute I put that back in, I'll probably be stuck in that game for another 5 months.
Didn't it just win Game of the Year?
Yes, it did.
Yeah, the Game Awards. So.
Yeah, at the Game Awards, Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild Game of the Year.
Nice.
I know it's not a retro game, but if you guys have not played it, people listening have not played it, and you have a Switch, well, first off, if you have a Switch, like, how could you not have Zelda? Like, it's the game to get.
I'm telling you, if you're going to buy a Switch for only 2 games, Zelda and Mario. If you only own those 2, it's worth it.
They make it worth the system without question. But then, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is, right up there with it as well. So
True.
It's definitely worth it.
All right.
From what I read today, do not buy WWE 2K18 for the Switch.
Good thing I didn't. Yeah.
Got slammed really badly.
Oh.
So Super Mario Odyssey story mode defeated, beaten. It was excellent playthrough. Really enjoyed the twist at the end.
Yes, right.
Which was, I thought that was great. It was just really, really cool. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, check out the ending on YouTube. I don't want to give it away because the game's only a month old.
Oh, because I do want to. I was going to say spoiler alert at this point, but because I want to talk about afterwards, which the way the game goes does kind of harken back to something of yesteryear.
Which is?
Oh, do you not know?
How
further did you get after beating Bowser?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yes. So, I don't know. Do we want to give it away? Has it been a month? Well, we could, you know what?
Let's do this. Spoiler alert. And
there's a spoiler alert at the end of Odyssey.
At this point, I will put a warning in as to at what point you can fast forward to. So let me give myself 2 seconds. Jump to about 14 minutes, 50 seconds, 14 minutes, 55 seconds. So now people have been warned in post.
Yep.
About where they can fast forward to. So, yeah.
Yep. So spoiler alert. After you defeat Bowser, and we're not going to give away the ending and what happens, which I thought was really
cool. Different. Yeah, very. Yeah.
That's a little different. But after you defeat Bowser, you arrive back in the Mushroom Kingdom.
Yes.
Which is like it's basically an upgraded graphic version of Princess's Castle from Super Mario 64.
That's the when I found that and I saw that. Did you go into the castle?
Yeah, no, I haven't gone in the castle yet, but I was spending a lot of time running inside of the castle because I'm like, oh my god, this is so cool.
Yeah, right.
And then I was finding passageways, things you can jump into.
Yep.
And that was just an absolute blast. I'm like, oh my god, it's just like Mario 64. So
yeah, back in paintings.
Amazing. I have not been in the castle yet, though.
When you go in the castle, I'll tell you right now, you can already tell from the outside what it's going to look like. So I think you can already imagine what the inside's going to look like.
I'm sure it's going to look just like it did.
Exactly. Now, did you also go and purchase the hat and the costume?
I purchased the classic Mario costume.
You can
I didn't purchase the. I know there's the 8-bit Mario costume.
No.
Right?
There's a Super Mario 64 costume.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I need to get that.
When you buy the cap and you play, you are that polygon Super Mario from Super Mario 64.
Oh, that's awesome. See, it wasn't in the store, was it? Or it is in the store?
It should have been by then.
Yeah, you have to buy it with the purple coins. So I got to.
Yes, that's right. That's right. The purple coins. Once you got that, I was flipping out. I'm like, this is amazing. That I'm basically playing Super Mario 64 again.
Yeah, basically after we're done recording this, I know what I'm doing.
Oh man. So, all right. So we're done with that part.
That's really cool.
No, yeah, that was definitely well worth it. And no, that's cool that you beat the game, Super Mario Odyssey. It's a wonderful. Oh, let me ask you this. This is not a spoiler or anything. New Donk City, the ending of New Donk City when you're running around.
Oh yeah, the 8-bit.
Oh, I love
adventure.
that. Yep. That was awesome.
Yeah, they really they did an amazing job with that Mario game. I mean, it feels so new and old at the same time that it's just
best game
since
since 64.
It's like the best hybrid, I think. Like, like current gaming and retro gaming combined in, Super Mario Odyssey. So it's just really, really great.
I've already said, and I will say it, it's the best Mario game since 64.
Mm-hmm.
So, so that's pretty cool with the newness. And then you got like that N64 type stuff. I was at a convention today, the Ace Comic-Con convention out here on Long Island at the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum. And I have no problem.
How was that?
I have no problem saying that Ace Comic-Con has no idea how to run a Comic-Con, and I'll leave it at that because I will save my gripe for a show that deserves gripes. We try and be gripe-free, but Ace Comic-Con, terrible job getting people in and getting them around. Once you're inside and on the floor, not too shabby. Not bad. The vendors were cool. One vendor I only saw that actually sold games.
Okay.
And where'd it go? Here it is. So I'm just taking a look at the picture I took. Had a lot of good stuff.
Did you buy any games?
Not yet, because I'm going back in 2 more days for 2 days. So
okay. So you got time.
I do. And there are some nice games. So he had, like, for example, a lot of Final Fantasy stuff for the PlayStation. Final Fantasy 9, Final Fantasy Origins, Anthology. Mm-hmm. Ooh. Oh, Chrono Cross.
I have that.
Yeah, I was going to say it for a minute. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. But he
also Chrono Trigger is Super Nintendo.
That's another Final Fantasy 9. A couple Dragon Ball games. But he also had some Super NES games. He had, unfortunately, though, I think it was a little overpriced. TMNT 4, Turtles in Time.
Yep.
But he was asking like $50 for it. And it's not in box.
It is a little expensive.
Yeah, it's card only. Donkey Kong Country, he was asking for $60.
Wow.
Wario Woods, but I didn't bother checking the price. And then for N64, he had Cruisin' World. This one, I know you had this one in, and it was a fun game to play. Star Wars Episode 1 Racer.
Oh, yeah, I still have that.
And he also had, and this he had for $30, Ocarina of Time. Card only, but still.
That's pretty good.
I may pick that one. I don't even have an N64. No.
You know what's funny? My Ocarina of Time vanished.
Really?
Yeah, I have Majora's Mask, but I don't have Ocarina of Time. I have no idea where it went.
That stinks.
And when I lose a game, especially a Zelda game, I'm very devastated.
I don't blame
it. And what's funny is it's not the only game that's disappeared on me. There's a handful of games that I know specifically that I owned that are not in my collection anymore, and I don't. And that's definitely one of them. So I got to pick that up again.
Oh man. Well, be careful. I remember one time I had a game disappear on me. Ended up someone stole it.
Who stole your game?
It was a long time ago. Somehow I got in trouble for it, but whatever.
Of course you did.
And then this guy was also selling. And when I go back tomorrow, I'll look more a little in depth. I was so tired with this Comic-Con. Just physically took forever to get in, but then I met Undertaker, which was really awesome. He was selling a super retro trio from Retrobit. Plays Genesis, Super Nintendo, and NES. I'm just going to kind of see if I can... I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
So, and he was also selling...
How much was that? Any idea?
$75.
Okay.
And then he was selling this thing called the RDP Retro Duo Portable version 2.0. I'm going to show Ant real quick.
Okay. Yeah,
basically, it was like a Super Nintendo controller that you could plug directly into it, NES and SNES games. And this thing will also run to the television. Component.
Oh, nice.
Component, but it will run to the TV.
By the way, that Retrobit trio that he's selling, it's on Amazon for $55.
Shocking.
Yeah. Well, people always People always try to upcharge at Comic Cons and stuff like that. So.
Well, I also did see a Super NES Classic for a whopping $200.
That's just stupid. It's just stupid.
I know.
They're going online for like 115, 120. There's no reason to pay that much
None
for
whatsoever.
it. The NES Classic, on the other hand, is still impossible to get your hands on.
Summertime. We got to wait till the summer. That's when they're supposedly going to come out again.
Well, I heard that there's going to be some coming out for the holidays.
Well, the holidays is in a couple weeks.
Well, no, I know. I heard a rumor. Well, I don't know who. I think it was ThinkGeek that had.
Oh, okay.
That officially said that they had NES Classics, but you had to like sign up with your email.
Okay.
And then, so in other words, what they're doing is they have a stock of NES Classic and SNES Classic. They don't want to put them on sale online because of bots. They know the minute they put them on sale online, bots are going to get them.
Absolutely.
So instead, what they're doing is you log in with your email or your Facebook page or something like that, and you're basically entering to win a chance to buy one of the classics.
They did that originally when the system came out. Actually, right around when I got it, because I was at jury duty. I was in the large jury room, where you wait to get picked. Yep. And I remember I kept checking my email because they were like, we're going to send out like one email an hour for like 12 people each or something like that. And I kept checking my emails while I was waiting at jury duty.
And that's what they're doing. And that's what they're doing this time.
That's cool.
And actually, unfortunately, people listening to this podcast on Tuesday, it will have expired. However, Larry, you have 63 minutes to sign up if you want to.
Ooh, all right. I will check that out.
There is 1 hour left, and you're only allowed to do one email entry. If you do the same one from your IP address, they disqualify you. So don't do more than one.
That's why you gotta be careful of the IP address.
Yes. So anyway, so ThinkGeek was doing that, which was kind of cool. So there's still a chance to get a classic for Christmas.
Talking about Super NES Classic. Boy, I thought we were done with this thing, but I guess not. But still, this one's nice.
Nope.
With the Super NES Classic, which I got. When did we get it? When did it go on sale? Like the beginning of September, end of September.
The Super NES was like September 29th.
Okay, so I had one since then. I was finally able to give to my godson for his birthday. He's 7 years old. So I give it to him. He opens it up.
Tell me he had no idea what it was.
He's 7. And his parents, they're not gamers, and my cousins, but they're not gamers like that, like I am. So he opens it, in a bag. He opens it, he takes it out, and he's looking at it. And he's not putting two and two together yet. So he's just looking at it. He looks at me, looking at it, gives it to his father. And my cousin, he goes, "What does it say?" And he's trying to read it, and he goes, I mean, he can read, but I guess Nintendo is a tough word. So he's like, super, and then he figures it out, Super Nintendo. Then he looks back at me, he's like, oh my goodness, because then he realized it's like an upgraded version of the NES. So that then he loved it. We could not hook that thing up fast enough for him and his 3-year-old brother. And when we were hooking it up, I told him, like, now this has got like it's different games, they look better. I'm like, and now be careful because the controller has more buttons. And he looked at me like, what are you I cannot comprehend this. What are you talking about? Because he's used to the 2 buttons from the NES. I'm like, yeah, it's going to be 6 buttons in total.
Right.
So he's looking at the controller, like trying to figure out how to use it. So he's, playing the games. We started him off with Super Mario World, something simple to just get used to. No, Mario Kart. We started with Super Mario Kart just to get used to the controller. 2 players, because it comes with 2 controllers. So his brother, who's 3, playing it. Now, don't get me wrong, both kids very smart. They know what they're doing. But the 3-year-old, picked up how to play this system like there was no tomorrow. They switched to Donkey Kong Country, and the 3-year-old blew through like the first 2 levels with like no problem. It was wild to watch. And then my godson, he got there as well, but the little one just picked it up a whole lot quicker. And I was like, whoa, this is nuts how quickly he picked it up.
Well, Larry, you have to remember, though, when we were young, way back when.
Yeah.
We used to do the same thing with games.
No.
There was something. There was just something innate about it that you just pick up on. It's a natural. It's just.
But I don't remember playing games at 3.
I think when you're a kid, your instincts are just better.
So. But at 3, I mean, I didn't get an Atari till I think I was about 5 or 6.
Oh, yeah, true. I mean, but you also got to remember we're in a digital age where kids as young as I remember my sister gave my niece and nephew a tablet, an iPad or something like that when they were 1.5.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Yeah, I remember.
And they start figuring it out. Well, and that's why I just think that's why I think it's easier for them to just pick up on it.
The little one was trying to unlock my iPhone when he was 1.5. You're right. He looked at me password. I think that was his first word, password.
Yes, right. There you go. See, so it's just it's just kids are intuitive to that now because it's everything is digital.
It was cool to watch. The only thing that drove me nuts is on Super Mario World, he kept using the spin jump as the regular jump. And I'm no, don't use that one. Use the regular one. He's like, why? Use this one. It's so much easier.
But it's cooler for them.
I know, but it doesn't jump as high, and he kept jumping off of Yoshi.
Okay, well, but that's what he liked. So you know what? Just
play the game right.
See, Larry, this is why you never beat.
This is why I'm also not having children.
You're just mean.
But, no, it was cool.
And you know what? I think for the rest of the world, that's a good thing.
I'm fine with that.
For the sake of our existence.
So, but yeah, no, it was cool to see him. He loved it, so I was very happy to see that. Kind of bringing him into just more old school stuff.
I know. I can't. Just wait for the day you get to buy them a Virtual Boy Classic with the entire library on it, because there aren't even enough games to fill a Virtual Boy Classic.
That's 2. You're good. Your quota has been met.
No, we're just starting. It's early. I got plenty of these.
Boo.
Actually, I probably have more digs at the Virtual Boy than it does games. All right, Larry, it's time for this week's Cheat of the Week. And since we were talking about Super Mario Brothers Odyssey, and we were talking about your stream with Super Mario Brothers 2, I have a cheat for the original Super Mario Brothers for the NES.
Ooh.
So I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but did you know that there was a way to have infinite lives in the original Super Mario Brothers?
I think I know where you're going with this, but let us know.
Okay. So for those of you who don't know, usually what would happen is you get 3 lives in Mario Brothers. If you get 100 coins, you get more lives. But when you ran out of lives, game is over. You go back to the menu screen and you have to start all the way back on level 1-1 because there are 32 levels in the game. Doesn't matter how far you get. Game over. You go back to the beginning. However, after losing all of your lives, when you return to the menu screen, if you hold down the A button and press start, you will start on the first level of the world you died on. So if you died on level 7-3, you go back to the menu, hold A, press start, and you'll actually start on 7-1. So there's a way for you to...
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a way for you to actually continue playing the game instead of having to start all the way back at the first level. So,
cool.
Yeah, and that's been in there for over 30 years, and actually it was in the Nintendo Power magazine way back when, because there was no internet. So you either had the Nintendo Power magazine or the Nintendo Hotline.
Wow.
So the original Super Mario Brothers, technically you can get infinite lives and continue playing the game even after you lose all your lives, and that is this week's Cheat of the Week.
Throughout gaming history, especially with the older games, there was a lot of myths with a lot of games.
Myths? Like
myths.
Catcher's mitts?
M-I-T-T-S. They were cold. They were chilly to hold on to. No, myths. M-Y-T-H-S. I've been out in the cold all night. I was out in the cold for so long, my speech started slurring, so this may still be just me thawing out.
I think that's just your New York accent.
It could be. That Brooklyn accent.
That's me.
Yeah.
That's me. I don't have a New York accent.
Some, and some things have been myths. Some things have actually come to fruition. One of the biggest myths, which I still am trying to figure out in that day and age where there was no internet, the blowing into the cartridge to get it to work.
To get you're talking about Nintendo cartridges, right?
Virtually almost any mostly they were NES cartridges, but I've done it to Genesis. I've done it to Super Nintendo and N64. Pretty much if it was a cartridge, period.
Yeah, I just think it was a rumor that was passed around over time, basically saying like, oh, if you don't keep the games in their sleeves, dust gets in them, and then you have to blow into the cartridge to get the dust out, because there were like all kinds of, there was just a way to do it. So and plus you feel like, especially if you were struggling with the cartridge for so long, because there were times like I would sit there for like 5 minutes and I couldn't get the damn cartridge to work.
Oh, absolutely.
What the hell's going on?
Do you remember? Like, do you remember ever reading something about it or talking to someone about it?
Well, not growing up, but on one of our 70 episodes, I don't remember which episode it was, but it was when I was doing the retro spotlight on the Nintendo for its 30th anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was, I believe. I had researched it and found out that if you that there was like a security chip that was in your that's in the Nintendo, and your cartridge has to line up with it so that it would read the pins properly.
Correct.
To make sure that it was a legitimate cartridge, and when it didn't do that, that's why the game wouldn't start. So it would be a little finicky that way. It had nothing to do with dust or anything about blowing into the cartridge. Because I remember even like getting cotton swabs and using alcohol and rubbing alcohol and
Did
all this stuff.
You ever buy those kits? I remember owning a kit that would do that. I remember it looked like a little T.
Yep.
You put
the NES cleaning kit.
Yep.
I had one of those as well.
You're right. All you really the fix was just popping the game out, putting it back in, and like you said, lining up the pins. But it's still kind of like I'm still trying to this day just figure out like how without the internet, just how that spread around, because I feel like first of all the back of the cartridge says no moisture. I think it actually said don't blow in it or something like that.
I think by the N6 no, I think it was by the N64 they had written it on every box or every because it was just that common that happened.
Yeah,
so
just the total
and again,
though.
it was just a word of mouth thing. I think it was just a kid at school would just say, hey, blow into the cartridge and it works again. I'm like,
probably
okay.
I don't but that was just one myth.
People forget how powerful word of mouth is.
Yeah, right, especially nowadays.
Yeah.
Do you remember some other myths? Because the myth was blowing into the cartridge would make it work. Clearly that's not the case, but that's not the only one by far that gaming has had.
Oh, yeah, no, there are a ton of video game myths. I remember one, again, because I'm a Legend of Zelda nerd.
Yeah.
Huge Legend of Zelda nerd. But there was a myth for Ocarina of Time, again, arguably one of the best Zelda games ever made, although it's got some stiff competition. And there was a rumor going around for Ocarina of Time that you were actually able to collect the Triforce in the game. And because if you look at all the other games, like especially like the first Zelda on NES, you're supposed to collect the Triforce, and everybody thought in Ocarina of Time you also needed to do it, but there was no way to do it. The Triforce was central to the plot, but you weren't actually collecting it. You were just playing the game. The Triforce played a role in it, but you didn't need to collect it because it was already like you had it stamped on your hand, and I think Ganon had a piece of it. So, and then Zelda had a piece of it. So like they were already like I guess owned in a way. But for some odd reason, there was a rumor that spread that you can actually collect it in the game, and there was some like weird, crazy way to do it. That's not true at all.
It was like to have a Zelda game without even mentioning the Triforce would just be to me blasphemy.
Right.
So you have to mention it. And it's I remember when I was playing the game, because I didn't learn about or hear about this myth till like years later, because when I was playing the game, I don't remember really searching for the Triforce or knowing to be on the lookout for it. So this myth came to me. I remember this myth came to me way after I was done playing the game.
Yeah, same thing with me. I had already completed it by the time that came up, and to be honest with you, I never went back to do it because I had just moved on to another game. Because there were too many damn games. So yeah, but that was one that always stuck out for me because I'm like, no, people, there's no Triforce to collect. Don't make me go back and don't make me go back through the game again. Although at this point I've played that game at least 3 or 4 times, so because it's amazing.
And now, when we were young, this definitely would have piqued our interest at the age we were when the game came out. Do you remember trying your best to get that nude Lara Croft?
So many times. I mean, no, absolutely not. I would never. Yes. I would never do that. That's terrible. Anybody who does that is just wrong. And I mean, I was 18 when the game came out. I mean, what do you think?
I'm trying to still do it now, and I'm 37.
I know it's a nude raider. Everybody wanted nude raider. Yeah. I mean, yeah, and supposedly it was like somewhere in her mansion in the beginning because there was I believe it was in her mansion, right?
I'm trying to remember exactly where it was. I just remember. I think it may have kind of started.
I think it was a code. It was like some special code you needed to put in.
And I think it was easier because it was accomplished. I think it was accomplished on the PC, which is easier to mod. But the code was the fact that like it was in the code of the game, which I feel like may have lent itself a little bit from Metroid because. And listen, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like Lara Croft, probably the first major female lead character. Probably since Samus in Metroid. Even before you realized Metroid was a female. Samus was a female in Metroid.
Yes. Very, very true. But, yeah, I mean, Lara Croft did something in video games that no other character was able to do up until that point. She brought sexuality.
She sure did.
To video games.
Those short shorts worked out real well.
Yeah, the short shorts and the halter top, and then, a very fine impersonation in the films by Miss Angelina Jolie.
Well, you got the new one coming out now who looks a lot more like
spot
Lara
on.
Croft.
Perfect choice.
Honestly.
Yeah, Alicia Vikander,
right? Sure.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. She looks damn good as Lara Croft, but I got a sweet spot for Angelina.
You and Josh. You and Josh.
I
don't know.
Sorry.
I'm just not there with Angelina. Oh, well.
Oh well, that's your fault.
It's all those kids.
But let's move on to this is one that I actually heard when I was playing the game back in the day, and arguably probably one of the best gaming experiences I've ever had in my life was playing Final Fantasy VII, because Final Fantasy VII reinvigorated my love for RPGs, because I played some RPGs when I was growing up, but as a kid, I was more into like action games, puzzle games, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I played a few RPGs here and there because Zelda games they're more like action adventure.
Yeah, you're right. More adventure. You're right. I wouldn't consider them.
Yeah, they're more adventure than they are RPG, even though like sometimes there are some RPG elements.
Yeah,
to
I really
it.
wouldn't call them RPG. Yeah.
Right, but Final Fantasy VII was a really great RPG, and anybody out there who loves RPG games, like this is the one to play. Like to me, like the definitive, and it's coming out on PlayStation 4 again. However,
yes,
there is a huge moment in the game. Spoiler alert! Although it's not really a spoiler alert because the game's 20 years old.
Yeah, honestly.
Right, but about halfway through the game, one of the main characters in the game gets murdered by the villain. So,
there you go.
What?
I said, there you go. A reason for revenge.
Right, exactly. But with the way the game was building, like she was also your love interest. So Aeris was the love interest of your character. So it's like you're thinking, oh, it's just part of your party at the end of the game. You guys are going to hook up and it's going to be all great. No. It turns out that your mortal enemy shoves a sword through her. in one and probably in one of the most like I want to say like saddest tear-inducing moments in a video game. Like I even remember how upset I was watching it play out because they did such a good job with it visually, and I really can't wait to see how they do it on the PlayStation 4. However,
I think it's already out.
Is it?
I could have sworn I just happened to be looking at the store today.
All right, so I'm way behind if it's out already, but I should know this anyway. But however, the rumor that was going around was because supposedly the character in the game had a level 4 limit break, and limit breaks were like these big powerful things that you can do, and it takes time to build your character up to do those things. Now, like you don't really get to your level 4 limit break with Cloud, the main character, until you're maybe 3/4 of the way through the game because you got to build your character up. So the question was, why did Aeris have a level 4 limit break and an ultimate weapon that she could use? And the only explanation for that would have been, oh, wait a minute, you must be able to bring her back to life at some point so you can continue building the character. So like everybody was just trying to figure out how you do that, and they actually had to in the official Final Fantasy strategy guide, they actually had to point out that no, she does not come. There's no way to bring her back to life. Once she gets stabbed through the chest, she's dead, and she's dead for good. But it didn't stop people from trying because again, it's like they put that little misleading element in there,
right.
That that she could be built up to this level, level 4 limit break, which couldn't happen. So that was one I do remember.
There was another one I remember, which got some news, and really caused a huge stir, with the gaming community. Basically the hot coffee incident, from GTA San Andreas. And I remember at first it being more of a myth, like, oh, you can, basically having a coitus in the game. And at first everyone thought, oh, this has definitely got to be a myth, until it turned out in the first go-around of that game, it sure was in there.
Yes, and it was interesting to say the least.
Yeah. It was definitely in the code. Of course, hot coffee, because I think they just zoomed in on the coffee, I think, and it was shaking around. Of course, that led to the AO rating for the first set of GTA games that came out.
Yep. To your point, they actually wound up. It was more of a bug. It wasn't a secret. They just didn't get all the coding out of the game. So, so you could find a way to pull off the infamous hot coffee.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, and by the way, Final Fantasy VII for PlayStation 4 is not out yet.
I'm sorry. Okay.
So yeah, I'm, as always, I'm right. But moving on from there, there was another one, and again, I'll constantly bring up anything Zelda related because I love Zelda so much. But did you ever notice in the original Legend of Zelda that the map for level 3 looked a little weird?
Yes, I sure did.
So the map for Legend of Zelda 3, for a long time, people were saying that it really resembled a swastika.
I don't think it really resembled a swastika. It sure looked like one.
Yeah, exactly. It did look like one, but it was not specific. Well, it wasn't intentionally done to be a swastika. It's also a Buddhist. It's a Buddhist symbol for good luck.
That's what it was. Well, that's where the Nazis stole it from.
And considering, right. And considering the Japanese gamers were putting this together, that that's an icon that's in their culture. So, so naturally, they used it. And of course, here in America, our first inclination, of course, is to go to the Nazis.
Yeah, well, that's what you do. You go to the Nazis.
Exactly. You just go straight to the Nazis. But contrary to popular belief, yes, it does resemble a swastika because the Nazis used that, but that was not the intention of the actual design.
No, absolutely not. And I'm kind of shocked that it didn't get at the time. Well, actually not, because it was the mid to late 80s. I don't think anyone really cared too much. Like, they weren't as easily offended. But I was kind of shocked it didn't get as much backlash that would have caused them to redesign it, which would have been a headache, don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah. There's no question about that.
Let me ask you this. Going back to GTA, do you remember hearing about the inclusion of Bigfoot in San Andreas?
No, actually, I
you never heard
did
not
that? Know that.
So there was...
No.
I mean, this was a big myth. I remember for a while because I tried finding them. You out in the woods to find Bigfoot. Some players would be out in the woods of San Andreas and they would see this, what they thought was an image, kind of like what it is now. Like you can never get a clear picture of Bigfoot. He's always blurry, which is weird. I don't know what he sets off to make that happen because Sasquatches are real and we should be aware of it. But everyone would just play for hours, forget about the game, but try and find Bigfoot, which the developers years later mentioned, yeah, there's no Bigfoot in San Andreas. But I believe in GTA 5, as a callback to San Andreas, yes, you can find Bigfoot, and I think you get a really big reward if you shoot him.
Oh, that's kind of funny. I like that.
Yeah.
Here's a good one. Here's a good one that I don't know if you've heard this. This one used to make me laugh, but did you ever hear the rumor or the myth, I should say, that you can use your PlayStation 2 chip?
What's that?
To build a missile.
What?
Yes.
I don't remember hearing that.
So, yeah, there were conversations that you were actually able to use the tech on the chip in your PlayStation 2. The rumor, the myth was that it was so powerful that if you combined several of them together, you can make a supercomputer to control a missile.
Awesome. That's a game.
Yeah. Yeah, but
War games.
Yeah, basically it's war game. It's war games and it's war games with a PlayStation 2
without Matthew Broderick.
Did you hear that War Games is coming back as a television series?
Oh, I thought they were remaking it as a movie.
No, TV series.
I'll take it as a TV series.
Yeah, me too. See, all they need to do is get a bunch of PlayStation 2s and put them together. And there you go. And all of a sudden, you can become your own superpower in your basement.
Nice. I will crush.
Exactly. I will buy every PlayStation 2 and rule the world. I
like one of my favorite, I guess you can, is that rude to say, favorite myth? I guess that's nothing bad with that. My favorite myth is, and it still goes today, I wouldn't say a myth, it's almost a truth, the Madden curse.
Oh, yes, the Madden curse.
The Madden curse, which everyone I think knows.
It's also the NHL curse as well.
Same thing with NHL?
Same thing with the NHL games, yes.
Yeah, with the Madden, I mean, it's mostly known as the Madden curse. At the same time, I don't think it's happened with baseball yet. But basically, whoever and I can't remember for the life of me when
it started.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. But basically, it's whoever's on the cover ends up getting like a season-ending injury at the beginning of the season or during like preseason, and then they're out ruining it for everybody. And I hate to say it, but it pretty much happened like almost every season.
Well, it started back in, I just did a quick little research of it. It started all the way back in 1998.
Was it? Who was the cover?
Garrison Hurst was on the cover of Madden NFL 99, and he broke his ankle that season.
He's the one that started it.
Yep. And then since then, right? And this is actually kind of freaky. Of the 20 players that have been selected to cover Madden games, 17 of them have had abruptly shortened seasons following their cover debut.
Exactly. It is
including season ending injuries.
Yep. It is wicked. And I'm even going to count the Hall of Fame edition they did once where John Madden was on the cover.
Yeah, that
his bus broke down.
So coming up this year, who's on the cover?
Good old Tom Brady.
How's he doing?
He spit in the face of the Madden curse, and I found it hysterical. When he was announced...
Oh, okay.
When he was announced as the cover of Madden 18, first of all, the world rejoiced because unless you're a Pats fan, no one likes Tom Brady, even though he's the best quarterback going today. No one likes Brady. So
I hate him.
I hate him. You don't even watch football.
And I don't even watch football.
The man's
yeah, I just
amazing.
hate him because he's married to Giselle Bundchen.
Oh, good old Giselle. Maybe next time she should keep her mouth shut about her husband having concussions during the season. So he's on the cover. Everyone's like, oh, sweet. Game over for Brady. What does Tom Brady do? He goes on his Facebook page and he makes these little mini commercials pretty much saying Madden curse. There's no such thing as a Madden curse. He's calling out the curse. And I have to admit.
You know what that means?
Well,
What I'm going to say, he's going to, I bet you he gets injured right before the playoffs.
Bite your tongue. And I'm not even watching this season. The little vignettes, if you want to call them, I don't know what else to call them, were very, very funny. He had his team. He has this brand TB12, and he has his team. They're like, look, yep. Tom, we got to protect you. You're on the cover of Madden. He's like, what are you talking about? And you see him showing up to meetings in a bubble suit, or
nice.
They were just calling it out, and it was very, very funny how they did it. So I thought that was pretty good.
Season's not over yet. I wouldn't joke around like that. This curse is 17 out of 20.
I know.
That is an 85% success rate.
It's scary. It's almost as if EA is going up to these guys and pulling a Tanya Harding and just whacking them wherever they're getting injured.
Well, yeah. I mean, EA wants to keep that thing going.
I'm curious how the record is for NHL.
I got to look at it, but I know the NHL one was having similar. They were also having that issue. I don't know if it's still legit, but I'll look it up.
I think for a while, people were almost people were not protesting, but almost voting not to have people on the cover for this very reason.
Yeah, exactly. It's good God, please don't put this guy on the cover. Yep. Okay, so I think we have time for one more myth, and I thought we can touch on the myth that most gamers in the world know about because it's a 30-plus-year-old myth. There was a documentary done on it recently.
Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about.
A very, very, very good documentary, and it was the myth that Atari in the 80s, around the time when the video game crash happened, buried millions of their cartridges, their games, in a hole in New Mexico. And the myth was that they had, the E.T. game, which is infamous for how awful it is. They had made more games than there were consoles.
Yes,
because they thought it was going to sell. Yeah. They for some odd reason, some genius over there thought that they were going to sell so well that people are going to own more than one copy, which makes no sense whatsoever. And then when the game, the sales for the game actually weren't that awful, but because they had made so many, it was a commercial failure. Mm-hmm. Not to mention the fact that the game was god awful. So they, so the rumor was, or the myth was, that they buried millions of these cartridges just in a dump in New Mexico. Now, a documentary was done a few years ago where they actually went to the site and dug it up, and yes, they did find Atari cartridges in there, and it wasn't just ET cartridges. They found definitely was not millions of cartridges. I think they found a few thousand, mm-hmm. if I'm not mistaken.
See, and here's
definitely not millions.
Here's where I have a problem with that myth because, yes, I remember hearing about it, which is the whole thing of a myth. You hear about it, but I really could have sworn they had already said, yes, this is the truth. There are games buried in the desert, and that they were uncovered way before that documentary. That's how I remember it.
Oh, you should definitely watch the documentary. No question about it. It was so well done. I don't know if Netflix has it or not, but
I think it's on Xbox.
I don't remember where I saw it. I think it's there.
Yeah, I think it's on Xbox. Because I think Microsoft.
Well, if that's the case, Larry, just spare an hour and a half. It's called Atari Game Over.
Mm-hmm.
That's the actual title for it, and I just thought it was really, really done. Really well done. So, Zach Penn is the name of the guy.
Okay.
Who did it? And it was really cool because not only is it about digging up the site, but it's a cool history about Atari and the video game crash and all that stuff. So it's definitely if you're a gamer and especially a retro gamer, it's a good documentary to watch. But yeah, I remember that myth for the longest time, and I honestly thought it was true as well. So it was cool when they actually did find games there. Of course, it was like I said, it wasn't millions.
Yeah.
I'm sure plenty of them got incinerated when Atari pretty much went out of the console business in the 80s.
Absolutely. All righty. So
I think we hit other myths. There was one quick final myth, but there was a myth going around, and I believe it was perpetrated by somebody in Brooklyn saying that the Virtual Boy was a decent system.
All right, so I think it's time for one of my favorite segments of the week. A little bit of wacky retro gaming.
Oh, I love wacky retro games, mostly because it's fun for me to research them and then find all this crazy all these crazy games. I'm like, what? I need a collection. I need a wacky retro collection.
That'd be cool.
So this week's wacky retro game is called I'm Sorry. That is the title of the game.
Wasn't there
a
board game? Oh, that's Sorry.
No, there's a board game called Sorry, but this week's wacky retro game is called I'm Sorry. It was developed by a company called Coreland, and it was published by Sega in the arcade in 1985, and this was in Japan. I'm Sorry, the goal of this game is for the greedy protagonist, who, by the way, was former Prime Minister of Japan, Kakue Taka. He was the actual protagonist. The goal for him is to collect all of the gold on the board while jumping over and defeating various enemies and obstacles in each maze-like level. So it's kind of Pac-Man-esque.
Okay.
Except you're using the former Prime Minister of Japan as your protagonist, and you're also making him look like he's a corrupt Prime Minister because you're having him run around collecting gold bars and dropping them off. You have to collect them and then drop them off somewhere and you have to collect them all before you can go to the next level. But here's the interesting thing about this game: the enemies in the game that you would come across in each maze are the following: Giant Baba, who is a Japanese wrestler.
Really?
A moonwalking Michael Jackson.
Boy, they don't have copyrights, do they?
Japanese comedian Tamori. I don't know who that is,
okay,
but he's a Japanese comedian. Carl Lewis.
What? Apollo Creed?
And my personal favorite, Madonna.
Madonna. Carl Lewis was not Apollo Creed. That was Carl Weathers. Madonna? What? Weird Japanese people.
Yeah. So while you're running around, while you're running around the maze, these are the villains trying to get you. And then there are obstacles as well.
Madonna is a villain.
Like fire hydrants, gates, and safes, and barrels, and conveyor belts, and all this stuff. But really, I mean, you don't need all that stuff to stop you. You've got Madonna. I mean, I can only imagine what it's like. But anyway, so think Pac-Man, but instead of dots, you got gold bars, and instead of ghosts, you've got Michael Jackson and Madonna.
One of them's a ghost now.
Baba, and Carl. Three of them are.
Oh, Carl Lewis is
Giant
dead?
Giant Baba. I think Carl Lewis.
Baba's dead. I remember Baba trying to purchase a small independent wrestling company, and then died shortly thereafter.
And we know Michael Jackson's dead. So I think Madonna's the only surviving villain in I'm So Sorry.
Yeah,
and that is this week's wacky retro game.
And this week in gaming. What do we got, bro?
We really need to put a warning to lower your volume when we get to this part with This Week in Gaming.
I swear to God, I've lost more blood out of my ears than I have out of anything else, thanks to Josh's scream. Love
Captain
you, Josh.
Nostalgia. Yeah, big time.
Good old Captain Nostalgia.
So what do we got this week in gaming? As we get closer to the holidays, I got to imagine some good stuff is coming out or has come out.
Well, yeah, I would think so too. This is a very interesting This Week in Gaming. I think it's pretty eclectic. We're going to start back in 1983.
Okay.
Eclectic.
And
Eclectic, like various
Thank you.
things.
All right,
It's a
got
lot
it.
of different
All right.
items. Eclectic.
So various. Okay.
Yeah, so, like my console collection is eclectic, You, on the other hand, are not as eclectic because you
random.
just, you're a Nintendo whore.
What? I love what I love. What do we got this week?
All right, so starting in 1983, we're going back to 1983. On the Famicom in Japan, we got Donkey Kong Jr. Math.
That was a fun game, and you were able to. It's even fun. It's weird. It's like the only educational game that's really fun to play, in my opinion.
I owe all my math genius to it. So, Donkey Kong Jr. Math, 1983. We're going to skip over 1984 because nobody cared about that year, and we're going to go to I don't know. There was nothing for 84. 1985 on the Famicom in Japan, we got 1942.
Oh. Nice.
Remember 1942?
Love that game.
Yeah, it's a great little shooter game.
Yep, absolutely. One of the best, in my opinion.
Yep. Jumping to 1986, on the Sega Master System in Japan, we got a game called Astro Warrior.
Well, that sounds familiar. Okay.
So, 1987, on the Sega Master System in Japan, this is a game you might be more familiar with. I used to play it in the arcade all the time, but Afterburner. Do you remember Afterburner?
I love the Afterburner. Yeah, man.
I feel like Afterburner was the first arcade game that had it had that control joystick that looked like the actual fighter pilot joystick. Yeah, it made you feel like you were playing Top Gun.
Oh, absolutely.
Except Top Gun sucked.
It was good.
Moving on to 1988 in Japan on the Sharp X 68000.
Bazinga.
Yep. Now this is an interesting game. It's called The King of Chicago. So,
is it the Sausage King of Chicago?
I don't know if anybody told people in Japan that there is no King of Chicago.
There's a Sausage King of Chicago.
They made a game about it anyway. There is a Sausage King, but that is not what it is. Moving on, 1989 on the Nintendo, we got a game called Mendel Palace. Have you ever heard of the game Mendel Palace?
Mendel Palace? Doesn't ring a bell, no.
Okay, well, just really quickly. In Mendel Palace, you are Bun Bun, and you have to rescue your girlfriend Candy, who has fallen asleep and is now trapped in her dream.
Ooh. Okay.
So it's a puzzle game with sliding tiles.
Oh, one of those? Okay.
Yeah. Heard of it before. I saw it on this list and I had to look it up. Moving on, it was also released on the Wii U as a downloadable game, which I also find very interesting because it's such a unknown game.
I'll have to check that out.
Yep. Moving on to 1990 in Japan on the Sharp X 68000.
Nice.
We're going for a twofer.
Love it.
We got a game called Ray Gun.
Simple, effective.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it doesn't need to be complicated. Moving on to 1991, completing the trifecta this week on the Sharp X 68000.
Okay.
We got Star Wars Attack on the Death Star.
Ooh, nice. Big name.
Yeah.
Big name.
Kind of fun. 1992 on DOS. Good old DOS. Way back in the day. Batman Returns, based on the movie.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's really interesting to see games on DOS from back then because you can see you can see that they're colored very weirdly because of the sprites.
Terrible, yeah.
It's so bad. It's so bad when you look at it. It's like they wanted it to look good, but no. I could have done better in Mario Paint. Moving on to 1993 on the Super Nintendo, we got a game called Cool Spot. And when I say Cool Spot, we're talking about Spot, the mascot of 7-Up. Now, what is Spot? It's a
mascot for 7-Up. It's the dot in 7-Up.
Yeah, it's the red dot in 7-Up that they turned into a mascot.
Well, you have one of those games.
Some cool. I do have Spot Goes to Hollywood.
There you go.
Moving on to, where was I? Because now I got distracted. 1994. We're in 1994 on the Super Nintendo. We got Super Bomberman 2.
Ooh, nice.
Yes, especially after playing the Bomberman on Switch. I want to go back and play.
Yeah, right. Honestly, because that's the first time I really played Bomberman was on a Switch.
Me too. So now I want to go play the rest. That's in 1995. Also on the Super Nintendo, we got a great RPG called Breath of Fire 2.
Okay. Yep. Good series.
Sequel to Breath of Fire 1.
Clearly.
Moving on to 1996. On the Atari Jaguar.
Jaguar. That's how the rich people say it. Jaguar.
Jaguar. Or Jaguar.
It's a silent J. Jogging.
Jaguar. We got Breakout 2000. Now, I have a point of contention here. Atari tries to get back into their consoles, into the console business with the Jaguar in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
They come out with a game called Breakout in 1996, but they call it Breakout 2000.
Remember back then, naming something 2000 just made it sound futuristic? Made it sound cool.
First off, but 2000 was only 4 years away.
Still.
And it didn't really matter.
WrestleMania 2000, the Blues Brothers 2000. You know, they
WrestleMania 2000 though came out in like 1990.
Well, it came out in 2000. So
98.
Oh, I meant the actual WrestleMania.
Did it come
2000.
out officially 2000?
Yeah, it was 16.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the video.
But I'm just saying, like, they threw that 2000 on there, like the Blues Brothers 2000. That was the sequel.
Yeah, whatever.
That came out in 98.
I'm just like the way E.T. Killed the Atari 2600. Breakout 2000 killed the Jaguar because it came out in 1996. All right, that's my story. Moving on to 1997 on the Sega Saturn in Japan, a game I am on now that I actually have a Sega Saturn, Shining Force 3.
That's like one of the top, like, selling for a while. It was the most expensive game to try and find and buy. I am just begging to play that game. If you ever get it, let me know. I'll fly out to LA.
And now that I have a Saturn, I won't hold my breath. But yeah, I definitely will. I will be getting my hands on that now that I have a Sega Saturn.
Sweet.
1998 on the Game Boy, we got James 007.
Oh, I had that game. I love that game. And what was
it like GoldenEye or different?
Oh, absolutely not. No, I almost had like a Zelda feel to it, like that top down. But what was cool about it, actually, I think it was designed for the Game Boy Color. If I remember, because the Game Boy Color had a like an IR receiver on the top of it, and I believe you were able to use James Bond 007 as a television remote. If I remember that correctly.
Really?
Yep. Because, like the gadgets and everything like that. So
that's
I
really
was
awesome.
never able to use it because I don't think at least the TV in my room when I was growing up was still the clickable channels.
Okay,
I think I still have
I
it.
am now
I'm gonna give
educated.
it a shot.
Let's move on, shall we?
Yeah.
In 1999 on the Sega Dreamcast, we got Test Drive 6.
Oh yeah, I never played that. Yeah.
I never played that one either. So let's just move on. In 2000 on the Nintendo 64, we got WCW Backstage Assault, the first wrestling game that thought it was a good idea to remove the wrestling ring from the game entirely.
Terrible.
Shame on you, WCW. That's why you're out of business. Moving on to 2001 for the Game Boy Advance, we got Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3.
Okay, not bad.
Fight, murder, all on a Game Boy.
It was a port. Yeah.
Moving on to 2002. This one's one of my personal favorites for this week. 2002 on the Atari 2600.
Oh, one
now,
of these.
we established this. Yeah, we established this a while ago that there were some contests in the early 2000s about making 8-bit games. So people were making Atari games, Coleco games. So on the Atari 2600 in 2002, we got a better Pac-Man.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's called a better Pac-Man. So somebody went out of their way to make a better version of Pac-Man for Atari because the one that Atari came out with was so bad.
Terrible,
and it was.
so wonky.
It was pitiful.
Yeah,
it was
horrible.
absolutely pitiful. So they made it. There was a better Pac-Man. In 2003, we got Red Faction on the N-Gage.
Oh, the N-Gage. I wish I owned an N-Gage. To this day, I still wish I had an N-Gage.
I wish I had an N-Gage too. I think they go for a lot of money now.
Oh, I'm sure they
do. But
do.
Otherwise, it was one of the worst handheld systems ever made.
It was a cell phone. They tried at least.
Exactly. Moving on to 2004 for the Macintosh.
Ooh, okay.
We got Bionicle. Remember Bionicle?
I remember Bionicle from The Simpsons.
Bionicle was like a sci-fi, I think, shooter game.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Bionicle.
2005. We have a console notice here.
Oh.
2005, Microsoft Studios launches the Xbox 360 console in Japan.
Wow, 05. Okay.
Yeah, it was in 2005 that the 360 came out in Japan. Very interesting, considering the fact that Microsoft systems don't sell very well in Japan.
Yeah, right.
They are a little biased against us Americans. How dare they?
Exactly. And they don't need it.
And we're going to close out this week in gaming in 2006 on the Nintendo GameCube, a game I am looking forward to playing. I own two copies of it on GameCube and Wii, I believe. Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess.
Oh, wow, they came out. Okay. Well, I didn't think that was a late year game. Okay.
Yeah, because I remember they were developing it for GameCube for so long.
Yep.
That the Nintendo Wii was coming out, and they promised anybody who was buying a Wii that they were going to get Twilight Princess on the Wii, and they also promised people who owned the GameCube they would get it as well, so they made it for both systems.
I feel like I have it on GameCube.
Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess. And I have both the Wii version and the GameCube version, and I have played either.
One day.
So that's a Zelda game I need to pick up and play, and that is this week in gaming.
We survived another week.
I don't know how I did it.
Thank goodness.
Oh, wait, I know how I did it. I did it with 3 Virtual Boy insults. That's what I did.
You're making up for last week. How dare you? Damn it, Charles. Keep your mouth shut next time.
Charlie, thank you very much for reminding me. I hope you enjoy listening to this episode because I more than made up for it. And I had some good ones this week, too.
You did, actually. You did. My personal favorite ever is the one during the myths. I like that one.
Yes, that was really good. I know I got you on that one.
You did. So, all right,
yep.
Sweet. And I want to also give a shout out to a friend of mine. I think you were the two of you. Yeah, you would have been a senior in high school when he was a freshman. Friend of mine for a long time, Tim Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely
was he the guy who played baseball and football?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, that's Bo Jackson. I was like, we didn't even have football in high school.
It took you a minute.
It did. Tim Jackson, he, long friend of mine. We went end up high school together, college together. Me and him actually bought. I remember we both pre-ordered the Game Boy Advance. And we bought Advance Wars. He did a couple tours over in Iraq. And Tim, thank you for your service, truly. And I remember
Thank you, Tim.
when he bought the Game Boy Advance, it was like kind of like the first time they were given insurance on the systems. So they're like, the kid behind the counter was like, "Oh, would you like insurance on the Game Boy Advance?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." He's like, it's insurance against flood damage, this, that, and the other thing. And he goes, "Does it also cover active war?" Because this was shortly after 9/11 when we got it, and he was in ROTC. So the kid behind the counter kind of like was laughing, thought he was joking. And Tim looks at him with a dead straight face. He's like, "No, I'm going overseas soon. Is this protected by active war?" And the kid's like,
"Wow,
I got to check with my manager."
That's all.
But Tim listens to the show because he messages me.
Tim, thank you for listening.
Absolutely. He messages me every now and again just talking about some stuff. You're like, "Oh, I remember this," reminiscing stuff. And he as well was a huge, which I didn't realize, a huge Goonies 2 fan.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I wonder if he ever saved Annie the Mermaid.
I'm trying to remember if he said he got that far. I got to go back. I don't remember too much.
Man, what a letdown.
But, yeah, Tim, thank you very much for all the support. So keep listening and share it with all your friends, share it with your family, and everyone share every episode from the More the Same Network. Retro Gamers every Tuesday, The Better Half every other Wednesday, The Yin and the Yang every Thursday, and you can find all these shows on iTunes, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Amazon Alexa, YouTube, everywhere. Also check out our Facebook page for our social media at Instagram and stuff like that. Ant, you got anything happening besides watering down the front of your house, hopefully?
No. All I have is hoping that the fires go away by the time we record next week's
Honestly,
episode.
Definitely. Thinking about you, praying, hopefully all that gets away from you. So be safe out there. You and everyone in California.
And of course, the countdown to Christmas is on.
Yes. Big time. When I was little...
which, by the way, really quickly, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but really quickly for our listeners... GameStop is once again doing the 4 for $20 deal on used games, so you can get 10 any games going for $9.99. You get them 50% off if you buy 4.
You really gotta stop telling me these. Every time you text them to me, I was like, "No, I'm still paying off my."
I've been on the site 5 times, and I've loaded up my cart and then not ordered it because I'm like, I need to stop.
Oh, my God. Yeah, no, definitely countdown to Christmas. And I remember when I was little, I was not allowed to even utter a word about a Christmas present until December 1st.
Well, yeah, that's like law.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to have some good stories. Like I said, we're going to do a crossover very soon, in a couple weeks, actually, with Victims and Villains. I think we're going to talk about Christmas, gaming during Christmas. I got a couple of good stories about gaming during Christmas.
Cool. We should do a special Christmas stream and open our retro game presents.
Oh, man. Oh, that'd be awesome. See, now that's what we got. See, now we have to mail each other a retro game.
Yes, we do. And we got to do that, and then we have to do the Mario cereal thing that we talked about last week.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're going to talk about that in
that's
our
definitely
production
happening.
meeting, because I got ideas on that one.
Awesome.
So follow us everywhere. Just check out the Facebook page for the Retro Gamers, and you're going to find everything there. And myself, I got nothing happening right now except Christmas is coming up, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
That's all you need. That's all you need to worry about.
Absolutely. And with that, Ant, have a good week.
You do the same.
And everyone out there in podcast land, check you out next week on The Retro Gamer.